What's up, everybody? It's the No Podcast, and it's your girl Shayna right here on Dash Radio and Apple Podcasts. What's up, No Fam? I got Chuck in the house with me. I got Raina in the house with me. How you guys doing today?
What's up, girl? We're good. How you doing?
I'm good. What's cracking lagging?
As always, we have a very, very special guest in studio with us. And Chuck, I'm going to let you do your wonderful intro.
Yeah, well, listen, man, this brother, first off, he came a long way today because he's a busy man. He also waited because I was acting like I was, too big to get here on time. So I apologize, brother, profusely because, you know what I mean? I'm a professional at all times. But listen, we got a former professional basketball player in the building, okay? This man created Dherbs. He's all about that cleanse life. He's got a rosé coming out, okay? I don't think you heard me. He got a rosé coming out. His name is not Rick Ross, okay? You dig? Stay with me, okay? You've seen him on the Steve Harvey show.
Yep.
You've seen him on Dish Nation.
Yep.
You've seen him on The Real. Oh, and by the way, he got a record label. Listen, I want to welcome my brother, the one and only A.D. Dolphin, to the know.
How you guys doing?
Studio clap.
Man, I need to take Chuck everywhere I go.
He got to travel with everybody with his intros.
Yeah, life crazy, man. First off, I kind of want to jump into it right away just because I feel like it's like a time marker for your journey.
Right.
But you were sharing with me, through my research, I knew that your grandfather, right, was in music.
In the 1940s, my grandfather, they wouldn't allow black people to go to Hollywood. So my grandfather thought he'd bring Hollywood to South Central. So, and that's what he did. He had a record store called Dolphins of Hollywood. From the Beach Boys to Elvis, they all went down there to come see my grandfather. He had a big, big following back then.
That's crazy. So the entrepreneurship is like already in the blood. It's in the DNA.
Man, it's deep. My grandfather's also he was the first business to ever be open 24/7. Before 7-Eleven and all that other stuff, my grandfather did it first with his record stores. So that entrepreneur spirit definitely lives within me.
And for those that don't know, Dolphin is the actual family last name.
Yep, that's it.
Wow.
Yep, that's it.
The name like Dolphin in L.A.? Yeah. I couldn't have a name. I would have been
Everybody
big flexing.
always asks me that.
I would have been big flexing.
Yeah, they don't think it's real, but it's the real deal.
Wow.
The real deal is also this Dherbs company because I have been researching it since we knew you were coming, and I'm super into like fitness, but I'm the most inconsistent fitness person you'll ever meet. Like I do like a good straight 3 months. I'm eating. I'm working out.
You lying. Shayna do twice a year.
That is not true. Me and Chuck obviously doesn't follow me because
Chuck definitely.
I work out pretty strong, and then like I fall off for a month, and then I eat junk, and then like the whole routine of that, doing that all year.
Everybody goes through that though.
Right.
It's pretty normal.
Yeah. So how did you come up with the company, and how do you tell people like this is what you need opposed to the other type of detoxes or diet plans?
Well, probably one of the biggest misconceptions that goes on is that people actually think working out is going to get them into shape. It plays a role, but it actually plays a small role. It only represents about 20% of what's going on when it comes to weight loss. So most of it, and pretty much all of it, the bulk of it, is what you put into your body. That's where it begins and ends. And that takes up about 80%. So,
so it starts with the food.
That definitely starts with what you put into your body, for sure.
And that's how you started the company.
What happened was similar to my friend here. She had mentioned that she was an athlete. She played basketball. And then all of a sudden, the coach isn't there anymore. He's not telling you to run those line drills, to run that mile and do those things like that. What happens is, next thing you know, you put on the weight and you never face that your whole entire life. You've been in shape your whole entire life. And that's kind of like what happened to me. I got back from Australia. I wasn't going to play basketball anymore. And I wanted to start my businesses and kind of get more into that. And what happened, I started gaining weight.
Yeah.
Something I never, ever faced before. So someone introduced me to a cleanse. I love it. I have this crazy addictive personality. So I did all kinds of cleanses, and I felt like all of them had something that was missing. So therefore, me and my brother thought about it. We kind of put it together. We put together a herbal team. And next thing you know, we began our quest to come up with the best cleanse on the planet. And that cleanse currently in name is the Dherbs Full Body Cleanse. And we're the most selling cleanse online in the United States.
Wow. Congratulations.
Thank you.
Dope. So I'm the friend, by the way, that he was talking about, guys.
Hey, Ray.
Hey. No, but so kind of touching base on that, like the athlete leaving basketball behind to start your businesses, was that like a tough decision for you? Or was this something that you kind of just had in mind, like going into?
That was probably one of the hardest things I ever did because basketball was by far my first love. Like I love playing. I could play 8 hours, 9 hours a day, and I was the happiest person in the world. But at some point, playing in Australia is not playing in the NBA. Mm-hmm. So therefore, sometimes you have to make critical decisions where it's like, okay, it's time for me to grow up. I'm not making the money that I thought I would make, and you have to make big boy decisions. And one of my big boy decisions was to forego basketball and just really start concentrating on me. But to be honest, running my own business has always been a priority to me. It's always been one of my goals. No one in my family works for anyone. So my whole entire family, my sister has a company called IQ Air. It's the #1 air cleaner in the country. She makes probably over $200 million a year. Wow. So she's killing them. So my brother brother does real estate. Me and my brother do everything together. So we've always had that. And then, we got to compete with our other family members. Yeah. We try to keep up over here. But so that was always my goal, to start my own business and to, do something with that.
So have you ever actually had like a job where you worked for someone else?
Big facts.
That is a good question. I've never worked for anyone.
It doesn't sound like it.
Yeah, I was going to say.
I've never worked for anyone a day in my life. One thing my mother told me, and it was probably one of the craziest, she told me, because when you're a kid and you're going through the summer and you're like, should I get a summer job? My mother looked at me and told me, she said, and trust me, we come from super, super humble beginnings. So for my mother to say this I was big for her, and I took it as being big. She said, you got all your life to work.
That's the fact.
She was like, just go on, be a kid. We gonna go on, figure this out. And trust me, we were living in low rent housing at the time, and those were the words that she spoke. So just having that freedom and that time to really pick what you really, really want to do in life and not kind of avoid that struggle and kind of be a kid, it really played a role, and it helped me figure things out.
Nice.
No, that's real. Like, low-key looking back, I don't think I ever had a summer job. I went to summer camps, but I don't think I had a summer job.
That's good.
And I had, like, a great childhood. Like, we was talking about Bria Murphy in the hallway. Me and Bria were just saying last night, like, how, like, we kind of grew up, like, believing in Santa so long that it was, like, it got to the point where, like, the family was mad at mom and dad. Like, yo, you got to let this nigga know, like, that, like, but
Bria,
it's like.
Bria definitely believed in Santa for too long.
Yeah, but funny. It got us right. But, like, my question is, like, obviously you've been blessed in abundance, Mm-hmm. So your whole family's been blessed. How do you kind of, like, try and pay it forward? Like, are you guys really involved in the community and different charities, things like that?
Man, you know how I pay it forward? Get on my Instagram. I'm probably one of the few people on Instagram. If people ask me a business decision, question or anything like that, I call them. I don't even waste no time. I pick up the phone, I call them, I tell them about decisions I made in the past, things I've done in the past, marketing decisions, mistakes, everything. I actually pick up the phone and call every single person. Anybody that DMs me on Instagram, Facebook, or any kind of social media platform, and they reach out to me, I always reach back.
Wow.
I reach back till it get crazy. Once they start getting crazy, some of them get a little weird. They be like, yeah, let me hold 50,000. Look, I can't talk to you. I can't talk to you no more.
Yeah. I can only imagine the requests that you get.
It's crazy.
Yeah.
It's crazy. But some people really have legitimate business questions. And to be honest, I had to kind of stumble through that. You know what I mean? I had to stumble through that and figure a lot of things out on my own. So I feel blessed to be able to help people, to help them make a better decision, or at least point them in a direction where I succeeded, or how I succeeded, or where I failed.
So you work with one of my most favorite people ever, which is Steve Harvey. And how did you get involved with the Steve Harvey Show and just being his health coach in general?
Oh, man. Steve Harvey, first of all, that's my guy right there. Steve Harvey is an awesome person.
Hold on. I don't even cut you off, Eddie. Steve be in the gym.
Steve, and you know what? Steve understands that your food is the key. But he does work out.
Okay.
And you'd be surprised. Steve actually got a scholarship to play basketball. If I'm not mistaken, I think it's Kent State. He was an athlete. Yeah. And if you ever work out with Steve, I worked out with Steve. I hung out with Steve for 10 days straight on his first 10 days when he first did the cleanse. He's a really, really good athlete. Even though he's like 60, he still moves well.
My man.
He still can jump. He's still lifting weights. He's a really good athlete.
He doesn't look like he doesn't work out.
No, I'm telling you.
Like he doesn't look out of shape.
No, I'm just thinking, like, when I think of Steve Harvey, I don't think like workout guru or anything like that. You know.
Steve Harvey, I could tell y'all crazy stories about Steve. Steve is amazing. Probably one of the most craziest thing. I was hanging out with Steve for 10 days, and he had this Oprah interview that he had to do. And I'm with him every single day. Like, we working out, we eating, we talking, everything all day. And his day started at like 4 a.m. So I'm with him for 10 days straight. And they was kind of mentioning to him that he got to do this interview. And I'm like, man, at some point you got to study. I got to study before I go do anything.
Right.
I'm in my book, I'm reading. He didn't do nothing. And he showed up to that dang interview. It was supposed to be like the pick of his life. It looked like he was reading cue cards. I swear to God. And at that very moment, I realized, wow, first of all, he's loaded full of talent. And the fact that I got a long way to go. You hang around Steve, you realize you got a long way to go. I swear to God, it looked like he was reading cue cards. He didn't stutter. He didn't mispronounce a word. He didn't do anything. I've never seen anybody flow for 2 hours and not make a mistake until I watched him. It was the most amazing thing I've ever seen. Because I was like, 9th day came around. I was like, see, aren't you going to do something?
You going to look over anything?
He was like, got this, man.
So knowing that he's a perfectionist, right?
Right.
Did you kind of like, burst his bubble a little bit when he messed up the, what was that, the Miss America? What was that?
The pageant.
The pageant.
But you know what it is? Sometimes in life, because I had one of those moments before on live TV, man, those are the things that make you stronger.
Facts. Adversity.
Wasn't it written wrong on the card or something?
I'm not sure what it was, but trust me, whatever happened during that process, it made him stronger. So I'm sure every time he get in those kind of situations, all right, what's going on? Hey, you sure?
Right.
Hey, I got it. Okay. And he going in. He not going to take it for granted. So those are the kind of moments that actually make you better.
Yeah.
For you specifically, like at what point in your career have you experienced that? I know you said you did.
Right.
But like, what can you share with us, like what that experience was?
No problem. I did this TV show in New York. It was called Arise TV. Live. Nelly had just went on before me, killed his interview.
This must be 2002.
Yeah.
If we talking about Nelly, it had to be 02 to 04.
No, you know what? No. It was only, I think it was like 3 years ago because I've only been doing TV for like 3 years.
Okay.
So Nelly just went on, killed his interview, killed it. He was very relaxed in the green room. This is my first live TV thing I ever done. But I have this kind of attitude because I play basketball. I'm used to certain things. So I'm like, I got this, man. So my publicist, like, she is a blender. She's like, you don't have to work with the blender. I was like, it's a blender. I'm going to be fine. Like, I don't need to.
Just push the button.
Yeah. How hard could this be? And she was like, nah, you should just work it. I was like, nah, I like to do things at the spur. Like, just make it really, really natural. That's why I don't really go into these things knowing the questions or any of those things. I'd be like, nah, let's make it a little bit more organic. So she comes to me for the second time, hey, can you, why don't you work with this blender? I'm like, I don't need to work with the blender. I got this. So she comes to me a third time. I was like, nah, don't worry, I'll be fine. So let me tell y'all something, man. They turned on that TV. They got me in front of that thing, man. That blender, you can still find it on YouTube somewhere, man. That blender went everywhere. It exploded. No. I had the top on wrong. I completely messed that up. And that was my very, very first TV appearance. But to be honest, that's the reason why I'm so prepared now. Because of that first experience that I went through, that failure. And sometimes you got to feel that just a little bit because of those things are the things that make you guys stronger. And you guys know that. I'm sure you guys maybe one day came in unprepared and Chuck was on it and Chuck looking at y'all like y'all crazy. But you go through that and you feel that, and then you start challenging each other, and then you come in better prepared on top of your game. And that's the reason why you guys are succeeding now.
That's
Very
true.
Yeah, I'm like, I made a lot of mistakes.
Yeah. You know I have. I made one after a show we had one day. I ended up in a place I don't ever want to be again.
Oh my gosh. But yeah, no, my first time like really messing up, I ended up telling the story I went to a class at Howard after I graduated. And I was like, the one piece of advice that I can give if you take anything from what I say is to over prepare for everything.
There you go.
Yeah.
You have to over prepare, because if you're not prepared, you're not credible.
There you go.
So
exactly.
There
And you
it
never
is.
know who's watching that day.
Right.
You never know who's watching.
Somebody
that day.
always watching.
Absolutely.
Angels in the Outfield is like one of my favorite movies from a kid. And I remember, like, he's like, remember, kid, somebody's always watching, because somebody always is.
There you go.
So go ahead,
Okay.
Shay. Ladies first, go ahead. Let's go do your thing,
No,
man.
I was going to say, so what has been like the most profound part of your career thus far? I know you said you've been on TV for like 3 years, and you have this great company that you started in 2004, right?
Right.
So like what has been the most, I guess,
Like the biggest moment?
Yeah, like your biggest moment.
I can tell you guys easily the biggest moment. The biggest moment that we did is that, first of all, we were petitioning to be on the Steve Harvey show for years. But we never got the opportunity. And then it just happened. I did another radio show promotion, and it was a complete failure. Lost a ton of money, spent a ton of money to try to make it work. It didn't work. And now we had this amazing opportunity to begin advertising on the Steve Harvey show. It cost this, at the time, astronomical amount. I only had half of it at the time. And instead of just like most people kind of giving up and saying like, we can't afford it, I didn't do that. What I did was I called the station. I said, hey, do you guys, can we split up the payments? Can we, instead of paying the full amount for that for that month, can I pay it, 2 weeks and then pay the last 2 weeks? And that was a changing moment for our company. The moment we started advertising on the Steve Harvey show completely changed our business 100%. Actually, the first day that we advertised paid for the entire campaign for the month.
Wow.
Changed our business. And that's why I always tell people, sometimes you got to take chances in life. And most of all, you got to ask questions, because you never know what people will do for you when you're in certain situations. They didn't know I didn't have it, but I asked a question that allowed us to put us in a position where we can actually move forward.
For sure.
That's dope.
Yeah. I know a question that a lot of people have is that how do they stay on track during holiday season? So I'm going to ask you what your advice is for people that are like, Thanksgiving, Christmas, everything, like all this good food. You want to fit in a dress by New Year's.
There you go.
How you keep it together?
So one thing that I always tell people is that you ever remember like a dessert tray? So take a dessert tray, and if you want to enjoy some of the holidays, and I'm not saying that you guys got to be perfect, what you do is you just practice portion control. Instead of a regular plate, use a dessert plate. Put your food on that plate. It allows you to still participate in some of the festivities as far as eating, but you won't overindulge. So eat on the dessert plate, and I'll say you'll still be able to fit in that dress come New Year's.
So can you only have one dessert plate?
Well, normally let's say if you had a regular plate, would you go twice? If you would go twice, then you could go twice with the dessert tray. If you usually would go once, then go once.
Okay.
That's
good.
You gotta, practice control.
So I have a question specifically for, let's say, someone who's just like working a lot and it's just kind of finding that extra motivation to either get fit or, make some changes in their their diet. Like, what are some things that person can do to just change their mindset? Is there any tips or advice that you can give someone to like get them to like, okay, get up, go and do something?
Right. Well, you're an athlete. So.
And I'm talking about myself. So, so I'm just like,
most
so
Arena
tired.
questions be about herself.
Because it's like, because I am going, like, I have a lot of friends, former athletes, and we're just like talking about, we play in like a pickup league, in a league, and
cool.
on Sundays, and we're just like, okay, we're going to play basketball. But it's very competitive. We don't move like we used to. Like, my mind is telling me to do this move, and when I do it, it doesn't happen. So, like, how do you, so for athletes in general, we're trying to get them back into like the gym or in shape, like, how can you get somebody to do that?
Right.
Like myself.
Well, the first thing, since I do have a cleansing company, I always say athlete need challenges, and people need challenges too. So if you challenge yourself and do a cleanse, to believe it or not, if you get through that cleanse, your mind state will be completely different.
Okay.
Yeah, you're definitely. So one of the things of the cleanse is that it cleans out all your major eliminative channels. That's your gallbladder, your heart, your liver, your colon, your spleen, your lungs, your kidneys, your adrenal glands, your blood, and your skin. It's going to help you flush out all the impurities in those particular areas. That's not that bad. The tough part is that I always tell people you can't eat the same foods that gave you the notion to cleanse during your cleanse. You got to make a dietary change, period. Mm-hmm. Has to happen. And the dietary change that we ask you to make is that you're going to be on a raw food diet. That means you only can eat fresh fruits, vegetables, raw nuts, and raw seeds throughout your 20-day cleanse. So that's usually the difficult part for people. But believe it or not, after day 3, and I'm cleansing right now, after day 3, you will be perfectly fine. Everything is going to completely change. That whole thing is that, I don't know if you guys, have you ever ate like fast food and then you notice like an hour later you're still hungry?
Hell yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And the reason why that happens is because your body is searching for nutrition. So therefore, when you eat something that doesn't have nutrition that you thought filled you up, what happens is your body will go through that and try to process that food. And then it realize, okay, whatever you did, it didn't satisfy the nutritional needs that my body requires.
Oh.
So therefore, it asks you to eat again.
For more.
And that's when you begin to overeat. So when you're on the Dherbs full body cleanse and you're eating those fresh fruits, vegetables, raw nuts, and raw seeds, and you're getting all that nutrition, what happens is you begin to eat less.
Right.
So after you do that 20 days,
right?
Do most people go vegan? Since like for those days you're not really.
And that's a great question. You know what? Some people do. They be like, I'm over it because of the feeling that you get.
Right.
I'm telling you, as far as the mental clarity that you get, that's one of the things that Steve Harvey absolutely loved. You'll feel like you're the smartest person in the room. You'll be in tune to every single conversation. You'll be completely focused. You'll notice that you're not as hungry. Your energy levels are through the roof. You'll feel like you're 12 years old all over again. And when people call us, they'll say, how can I keep this going?
Right.
What can I do? And we say, look, it begins and ends, just like we started the show, with what you put into your body.
Mm-hmm. Yes. So chitlins is bad.
We already know chitlins is bad.
I'm a Negro, man. I got.
Man, Chuck, I'm telling you, man, chitlins, just think about where they come
Hold
from
on.
and what you're eating.
What about once a year, though? Just once a year.
I'm not saying that you can't. Just don't overindulge. Just be mindful of what you're eating. One of the great videos that's out there is what's that? God, what's that? It's a new one. God, what is it called? God, it's gonna come back to me. But it talks about the different foods and the processed meats and all these different things.
What the hell?
Yeah,
what the hell?
Yeah, it's like, was
I
it a
remember
documentary?
that's
It slipped my mind. So what the hell? If you watched it, have you ever watched that, Chuck?
No.
I heard that there's a lot of false info in there, though.
Listen, but you got to remember who's saying that.
The streets.
I don't know. Is that like the same thing as going on like WebMD and figuring out that like you might have like cancer or something and it's like a common cold?
You know what it is that that's the crazy thing about the internet, you guys, that everybody gets to say something.
Right.
Everybody and anybody can write an article, can start a blog, and have all kind of crazy questions.
Facts.
If you think something is false, go do your research. That's it. And then at some point you got to realize, what do you believe to be true?
When was the last time you had McDonald's?
Man, I was never like a fast food person.
Even as you're an athlete, because I feel like athletes have the worst.
They do.
Diets, yeah.
And the Olympic athletes, they always eat McDonald's.
But they're.
I think that's
Usually
because
the Olympics is sponsored by McDonald's.
But like even the when I was playing, we had we had like training table, we had like a car, just go eat whatever you want. And I feel like that's just kind of what messed a lot of athletes up after.
I think there's definitely, when I played, that was definitely true. So when I played, that was true. Eat whatever you want. Probably my biggest addiction was soda at the time. So I totally understand. But to be honest, those kids now, I don't know how familiar, like, are you still, or like AAU and still doing stuff like that? Those kids actually have diets now.
Yeah.
That's true. They have full trainers and nutritionists.
It's a different mindset now. So the world is definitely changing. But when I played, they was like, no one talked about nutrition at all. Yeah. It wasn't really a part of it.
We had pizza nights and pasta nights.
Oh yeah, we definitely had big pasta nights.
Yeah. My brothers play football. And actually, I was just having a conversation with my brother. He's a freshman and experiencing, like, I hate college. I want to come home, homesick type of thing. We all have done it. So, like, because he's getting his butt whooped right now. He's a freshman. He's getting picked on. So anyways, sorry, Mo, I love you. But so he was telling me about, like, he needed to gain weight. And so we're all talking about losing weight and getting healthy and stuff. But, like, for people who need to actually, like, gain weight and bulk up, like, what's your thoughts about, like, muscle milk and like all that, like extra protein stuff, like the opposite side of
and also like, is it unhealthy to gain weight in a certain amount of time, if that makes any sense? Because like I got a movie role coming up for Coming to America 2, and I gotta gain like 80 pounds, in like almost 2 months, and I'm like, that just sounds unhealthy.
You know what it is? I would probably say the best way to gain weight currently right now, and a lot of people utilize protein, but the protein I would use is more of a vegan protein. So look for like a hemp protein, things along those lines, because those things are going to be a lot more powerful for your body than the other protein stuff that they're putting out there.
Okay.
Question. So, all of this healthy that.
Right. I
see my homeboy in the hallway right now with the rosé bottle.
Right.
You got a rosé coming. What was the thought process behind that?
We wasn't really supposed to let that out, Chuck.
Oh shit. Shit.
Exclusive.
Yeah,
but we're coming out with, it's more organic, it's a little bit more natural for your body, so it's definitely it's a spin towards health, because people are going to drink, and then you can't really avoid that, and people want to kind of indulge in that a little bit, so therefore we're making one that's a lot healthier for people, and that's the goal of that product.
Nice. Well, where can people follow you? Is there anything you have coming up next that you'd like to let everybody know about?
The thing that I have coming up, I have to do a Steve Harvey. I'm filming in December 4th. It comes out January 8th. Is going to come out at the top of the year, and it's about a gentleman. He did our cleanse. He did 2 cleanses. He lost over 70 pounds. So it's about his quest and what he was able to accomplish, and it's going to be an incredible show on January 8th.
We at the No Family would love to just get some tickets. I mean, I'm just putting, it wouldn't hurt, brother. It wouldn't hurt.
Looking up this little cleanse.
Talk to Chris. Talk to Chris over there. We'll make sure, if you guys really want to, if you really want to come to the show, we'll make it happen. And then as far as reaching me, they could just reach me on my Instagram. And like I said, I do respond to people. It is actually me.
What's your Instagram for those that don't know?
AD Dolphin. So ADDOLPHIN. And that's pretty much any social media platform that's out there. And you can also check out Dherbs. Dherbs is always spewing out great, healthy information for people. And that's DHERBS.
Perfect. Thank you so much for coming on, for sharing your stories, some advice.
Yes.
I feel like I can go into Thanksgiving and Christmas and everything and be all right.
You got me thinking about getting healthy like Shana and Raina now, man.
Yeah.
Real talk.
But thank you guys, as always, for listening right here on the No Podcast, right here on Dash Radio and Apple Podcasts. And we'll see you next time.
Yeah.